Hey everybody, and welcome back to Weaponized Rants. Okay, so this is the first official video, I guess, of this series, and I'm going to use it to talk about kind of a non-talked about subject, and it is basically whether or not humans are herbivores, carnivores, or omnivores. So there's a whole lot of science and studying and hearsay about this subject. However, I'm going to go through and kind of look at some comparisons and maybe tweak your mind a little bit and see if you'll question a couple things. Just know that I do think the human race is a herbivorous race, and that is just my opinion. Whether or not you think the same way, really don't care. But hey, shoot me a comment below and let me know what you think. So without further ado, let's divulge into this and see what kind of stuff we can dig up. Let's take a look here. Okay, so there's a couple different things I want to talk about. The first one is about canines, because canines are literally the definition of what people come up when they want to argue with humans being omnivores or carnivores. Okay, so canines on humans are basically, they are at an angle, however they're not that pointed, they're not long, they're not sharp, they're not any of these things. They're more so designed for biting into things like carrots, fruits, legumes, really any of your typical veggie foods. They're very good for that. They're very poor in biting into meat or biting into some type of animal, or just trying to bite your skin, see how tough that is. You know how much bite strength it would take to rip apart another being? Like, just that alone is enough to throw that whole notion right out the window. Okay, true omnivores, again, they have long or elongated teeth or canines, right, which are not the same as humans. Herbivores are basically the closest region, or the closest to what a human's canines or mouth would look like. If you want to look at two pictures, go to Google and type in herbivore and carnivore, or type in human and carnivore, and just look at the differences. It's very obvious to see. We can let's also take a look at a couple of different things. Let's take a look at chewing. That's the one thing that no one really talks about. Have you ever heard of, or your mom said, your dad said, your grandma said, somebody ever told you to make sure to chew? Humans should chew anywhere from 20 to 25 times. Why is that? Well, it reduces the risk of choking. It also helps to allow for the body to easily take nutrients that it needs to on the way down to the gut. So, for example, think about it this way. If you have, let's say, a piece of fruit or vegetable or meat, I guess, if you want to add that in, and you don't chew it at all, and you just swallow it. Well, number one, it's kind of a foreign, it's too big of a piece to get down. You can feel it all the way down. And then your body then has to take extra energy, extra time to then break that down in order to get its nutrients, and it could cause gastric distress and a whole bunch of other issues. The reason we chew for a lot of times is to allow it to easily pass down the esophagus into the gut, and to allow the body to easily take nutrients from it. The body is much easier to take nutrients from the body when it's chewed or pre-digested, basically, than it is for a whole piece of food. If we look at carnivores such as lions, tigers, wolves, etc., they don't need to sit there and chew and chew and chew and chew and chew. No, they rip it off, they chew what they need to, and then they swallow it down. It's very quick. It's very, you can call it violent, but it's very different than how the human race, or humans, herbivores, eat. It's very different. And to make that comparison is so off base that you can't even, it's like comparing, the shade of black to the shade of red. Are they the same color? No, they're different. One's a shade and one's a color. Like, it's not the same, right? Let's look at a couple other things here. Let's look at extremities. So let's look at hands, nails, that kind of thing. The last time I checked, the human race didn't have claws or tools on their person in order to take down an animal. I mean, if you were thrown into the wilderness naked, could you take down a bear? Could you do it? No, you couldn't. If you said yes, you're lying to yourself. Could you take down a wild cat? Could you take down a lion? Could you take down a gazelle? Could you take down any of these things naked just using your hands and your teeth? No, you couldn't. There's no possible way. There's not. Unless you're like, I don't even know where in a situation where you could do that. You do not possess the necessary speed, the necessary biting tools, the necessary claws. You don't consist of that. So that doesn't even count. You couldn't. Without the invention, I guess, of cars and guns and all kinds of other things, you couldn't do it. And yes, people argue with me, well, that's part of evolution. No, that is a way to exploit animals in order to use them for profit. That's all that is. It's not evolution. You're basing evolution on you contributing to the mass genocide of animals, when it's not. You are adding to that to fill someone else's pockets with money. The exploitation of animals, and that's what it is for the sole purpose of money. It's just, that's what it is. You can try to deny it all you want. It all comes back to money. So you either deal with that or don't deal with that. It's up to you. Let's look at the intestine, the length of the small intestine. So the length of the small intestine in humans is about 10 to 11 times its body length, which means it's very long, it's very intricate, and many things can either get caught or stopped or rot in there. If we take meat, for example, meat is really not well when it travels through the intestines. It can get caught in trying to go through the intricate path. When that happens, it starts to rot, and when it starts to rot, it can add to the increased availability of cancer growth, of cancer cell growth, and that's where you get these problems. Is from this issue, and you don't get them on a vegan diet. Okay, and I'm not saying that you're immune if you're on a vegan diet. No, but it drastically reduces your problems. It drastically reduces heart issues, these colorectal issues, these intestinal issues, gastric distress issues. It reduces all of these issues. You have to think about it. The body reacts to something that is foreign or it doesn't belong in there. The cancer can only grow in specific environments. If you do not provide the environment for cancer cell growth, then you do not get cancer. It's that's a basic way to say it, but that's the reality. If you allow for an environment to let cancer cells flourish, then when you get cancer, for you to question it is just foolish. How did that happen? Well, how's your diet? I mean, that's the simple A, B, C, and D portion of that. So, that's for you to think about. A couple other things here. Let's look at the omnivore diet. What does omnivore mean? What does omnivore mean to you? Okay, well, let me tell you what omnivore really means. Omnivore is not 50-50. It's not 50% meat and 50% vegetables. No, it's not. That, again, is a lie. It's propaganda told to you so that you believe that that's what omnivore means. Omnivore, if we look at a true omnivore, so let's say many critics or many people say that the chimpanzee is an omnivore. Okay, the Z's diet is 95% plants, not meat. It doesn't eat 50% meat and 50% plants. No, it's 95% plants. Okay? That, omnivore is not split into two. Omnivore basically means that you can eat meat. Your body has the ability to eat meat if it is a life or death situation, but is not meant to have both on an equal platform. Again, that is just propaganda. All of this is propaganda. All of this is a mindset that has been drilled into your brains to make you keep paying into the system, and you keep falling for it every time. There's no reason for it, It's kind of like saying, people say that, well, we're omnivore, we can eat meat. Yes, you can eat meat, but you can also eat cardboard. And you can also eat paper, and you can also eat glue, and you can also eat, this blanket over here if I choose to eat it. I can eat that plastic too if I'd like. It doesn't mean you need to eat it or you should eat it. All of these arguments that you have are really just... those are stupid. That's it. They just are. I was trying to think of a better word for it, but they're just stupid. You need to think about, why you do what you do. Why do you eat meat? That's a serious question I'm having. Why do you eat meat? You eat meat because your parents taught you to eat meat. You don't eat meat because you look at an animal and think, I want to eat that. No, you don't. You eat meat because your parents said you should eat meat, or you were taught to eat meat. And unless that animal is killed and dissected and put on your plate, you're not going to go over there and kill it, skin it. You're not going to do that. And for the people who do that, for the hunters that do that kind of thing, unless you live out in a shack in the middle of the woods, you don't have, the right to do that either. Okay? You have a right to hold guns, you don't have a right to kill innocent life. That's the long and the short of that. You don't like it, leave it below. Go bitch. Because you don't. That's the long and short of that. Besides that, based on what we've talked about today, and based on really the last forever years of science, but specifically in the last 10 to 15 years, we can make a solid conclusion that humans are frugivorous or herbivorous animals. We are. We're not omnivores, nor are we carnivorous. Like I said, that notion is just exactly what it is. It's a notion that was taught to you in order for you to keep funding the system, in order for you to keep paying into a corrupt and unjust system. So whether you want to keep going with that, or if you want to wake up and realize that you've been lied to your entire life, that's up to you. I'm just here to rant about it and maybe give you a different way of thinking about it. Anyways, that's all for now. If you want to do some more research yourself, just go to Google and type in "humans don't eat meat" or "are humans carnivores." You'll get all kinds of information that would teach you what I'm basically telling you now. If you don't want to, then you can keep living in ignorance, and eventually you either come around or die. Pick one. So that's me. That's all from you guys, and I'll see everyone later. Peace.